Oh, there we are. Welcome. Welcome. We'll try the replay buffer again. I don't think I'll remember doing it, but uh, we'll do it. Anyways, okay, so yeah, today, maybe this week, maybe for even a few months, I'm not sure because winter in Central Florida is temperate. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's even cold at night, but most of the time it's fairly temperate. And so, in order to do some stuff in the afternoon, I'm opting to work a little bit earlier. I might even go even earlier if I can get our breakfast sorted out before then. But so yeah, so right now I'm doing it earlier, only doing it 2.5 hours total instead of 3 hours actual game dev or actual time because I'm already almost 10 minutes into my starting time. Um, so I'll work from okay, so it's just after 10:30, so we'll start from 10:30 to 11:30 to 11:45. I'll take a break for 30 minutes and then I'll come back at 12:15 to finish chapter 2. And then it'll be 12:15 to 1:30 and it'll be less. And then maybe I'll do another bonus episode tonight if I have time, extra time, which I may or may not have. But in any case, let's get this party started because I gotta get going on here, right? Um, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the current project. Um, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how I can make this more interesting. Um, Now there's at least one person in here. The other two could be just myself on both YouTube and Rumble. I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure if it's just one or if it doesn't count myself. It shouldn't count myself, but it might count myself as a viewer, which is I guess is okay. Whatever, whatever is whatever, right? Um, so yeah, we'll see if today I can finish chapter 4. Pardon me, my nose. I don't like sneezing, so I try not to sneeze whenever I can not sneeze. Um, okay, so we got the unicorn goes to school. Um, okay, so this on the top was the original. This is the new. The unicorn approaches was you, but it's locked and boarded up. So he decides to ram the door and head inside. And this we're actually gonna give them a couple of choices to get inside the school. And then, like I said, I have two of them. So let's go ahead and go here. And Unicorn sees a sign about visiting the library. It proceeds down the Hall of Fame, noting a particularly defaced portrait. The Unicorn searches around the library for any book that may help. And then this is also, I'm going to put a couple of choices in here. And actually, it's still going to be the same information. It's still going to be the same thing. It's just providing interesting kind of decisions. Um, I mean, later it could form into puzzles. I don't know. I know that there's some things where I actually had puzzles, planned and puzzles and um, reflected that. But because of the short nature of this rebooted phase 1 and this first pass and all that, um, more or less, it's just going to be kind of flavor. In other words, choosing which. I mean, it's going to be anyways. There's not going to be. There's not a puzzle in here, but it's going to um, be just kind of this narrative flavor where if I want you to hit all the different deals, but in any order you choose, I put three choices and I do that whole thing. Um, but if I want to one or the other, I'll do that. That sort of thing. I mean, it's like I said, it's not real game yet. It's not going to be a game until let's see something here. I actually have to pull up. I have to actually pull it up here. Where is my roadmap? roadmap. Dev streams. Oh, the subreddit. I haven't posted in the subreddit in ages. I wonder if I wonder if I still have it. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just post it in here. Uh, paste, paste. Um, Here, save. So at least I have a reply there. That's not really okay. Here's the roadmap. Okay. Um, let's see. Um, okay, choose your own. The navigation separation, room independence for reusability, and that's going to be a little tricky because what it's going to be is um, it says make rooms independent and reusable by decoupling their descriptions and choices from a single linear path. Um, so what I'm going to have is whenever something takes place in the same actual location, exact location, different time period or a different thing, then it's going to have a main description that displays anytime you go into the deal. Then it's going to have the kind of the independent description. You know, for instance, you turn out the light or whatever. And I guess I mean maybe I don't need a like a default description because if I do a default description, let's say you go into a room and you see everything, like couch, some chairs, window, whatever, table, and you turn out the light, and then you come back later, and it says, well, there's this, table, blah 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 blah, and you be going, well, I can't see that because it's supposed to be dark, right? So it's possible that I'll just um, let me think. Maybe I'll just have descriptions for each page. So I mean, it'll still the game will still work like it does. Like it'll still be the same. It doesn't have anything different. It's just I'm gonna make each room file, each location, be able to have multiple choice sets and multiple descriptions, so that it's all in one file, right? For later when they become actual rooms. But right now they're not actual rooms still. But that's in phase 3. Phase 4 is multiple player characters, and that's because you're gonna be doing multiple. You know what? I almost haven't figured that out. Whether I'll, because they're all gonna each have their own kind of like when they split off and do different things. Like for instance, when Hubert and John go off to check out the schools. I was going to allow you to run them concurrently. And you could switch in between them. Uh, so I still might do that though, but I still might not do that too. I might do it the way I have it now, where it's just you're playing whatever characters are in the chapter in the particular area that you're using. But still, being able to switch in between characters. That still might be a thing that's needed, so I might still just do that anyways. Okay. So then 5, I start adding the audiovisual elements, right? I start have some background music, some static images, which are probably I'll make some thumbnails for backgrounds, and I'll just kind of display them alongside the text. Okay. Then I'm gonna start by adding a parser. Now the game is going to be the same, uh, but it's going to it's going to be able uh, to take text input. So instead of hitting 1 to directly go to your choice, you're going to have to hit 1 and enter because you're going to actually enter the text. You're actually going to enter the number 1 and or the direction if it's the direction. So you'll actually be typing it out, but it'll be the same exact commands. Uh, that way, the building on it iteratively like this means that I don't have that much to do. I don't have to add that much more to the um, to the game. I'll have to go through all of the rooms and stuff, but it just kind of builds on and adds a little bit extra, a little bit extra. And I also plan to add a little bit extra onto the story, so I'll actually have more pages of story. And that's why I'm also thinking about the thing about the narrative phase and the non-narrative phase. Uh, if I don't necessarily want to do the narrative part, but maybe let's see, inventory system, expansion of interactivity, which means actually adding regular commands to the parser, save state system, puzzle design, create background and scene visuals. So I'm not sure how much I want to invest in doing the narrative path. I kept talking about the I kept talking about the first pass, the event pass or whatever, what I call. Um, and let's think here. Let me see something here. That's not it. Okay. Anyways, so I'm talking about like a event pass and a narrative pass, and I'm kind of going, well, is it going to help anything? Now it'll help it something for gameplay, but see, okay, so this is what happens. Okay, so I get this finished. I know I should be working instead of because I only got till what did I say, 11:45, 11:45. Um, but so let's say I get this phase one done, this event pass one done, and it's all completely finished, and then I go back through and I try to make sure that the words flow narratively. There are paragraphs, there's dialogue, there's an actual story that you're reading instead of reading a bunch of events. In the next phase, I'm supposed to add more to it, and then I'll be adding more event pages, and then I'll have to go back over it again and then redo the narrative thing. So I don't know if it's more efficient to do it that ways. It might be better to do it that ways because I don't have to do it like a full, like I won't have to do like a full narrative over the whole thing after everything's completely done. It'll be partially done. So probably maybe I'll just still do it that ways. Anyways, um, so yeah, let's get back to the thing at hand here. Unicorn seeds. Okay, so let me open my notes. Recent. Go all the way down. Um, that projection. I don't need that. He gestures to the spell he wants. Oh. So I didn't even have anything for Sir William there on this page. It's all in this stupid chat. That's the one thing I should probably um chat GPT. Maybe what I'll do is I'll copy it and I'll save it. Because it should be right at the very end of the conversation here. So let's see if that is the case. All right, let's copy this. We're gonna Sir William Lizard, you. I think I'm going to do 2 points. One is the choice of how to get in, and and the hallway sequence or page is sort of the reward or the next bit of the story after the choice. Then I will do the thing about finding the right book, finally resulting in the information about what he needs to do, and citing the man on the cover is the same as the man in the portrait, so you must go find him. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and copy ChatGPT's response. Paste. Okay. Okay. And we'll go ahead and just we'll save this Excel. Then I'll go find the book. Find the result. Okay, this should be on a new line though. It sounds like a rock solid structure. Okay. We'll save that, and then I guess I'll leave that open. But so this is we're gonna add the choices in. We're gonna add these new pages in. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible, and hopefully be done with chapter 4 today, and be able to maybe even start on chapter 5 today. We'll see. I don't know if that's gonna be the case, but we'll see. Okay. So. Okay, so now I'm gonna need to come up here and open the rooms because I guess I'm just going to number the rooms. Oh, rooms. Okay. Build rooms copy. We'll just leave that there. And I'm chapter 4 and okay. Tribute to Sir William. Oh, okay. Chapter 4. Okay. P0. Oh. I guess I got rid of page 1. Hmm. I wonder I could. You know what I did though? I did kind of screw up a little bit. This is title 1. Oh, I see. I see the way I did it. No, I guess that's right. I guess that's right. Uh, I don't know. Oh, let's see. Oh, I see. This one is the unicorn goes to school is it's title 2. That's where I'm getting messed up in. Uh, of course these need to be changed too because these are the unicorn gets a clue. Title 2 P0. Checks out a book. Unicorn goes to school. Right. I guess that's correct. That's correct. Okay. Now, that being the case, page 1 and page 2. I'm actually going to renumber these. I don't know. I guess we'll start with page 3. Let's start with page 3 on the next deal here. So, let me think. Let me think for a moment. Let me think. Okay, so we're okay. So we're gonna come up with the thing. And it's only gonna be like two things in here, but we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. So, and I might go, like I said, I might number the pages just because how they're supposed to go. And well, I mean, there's no real order. Like it doesn't matter how many I spread underneath it. That doesn't matter about that order. But I do like the order descending kind of based on kind of their location. You might say. You might say. Okay. Approaches. So he thinks for a moment. He could attempt to ram the door. Um, let's see. Uh, should I decide between three choices or two choices? Uh, let me think for a moment. So he's going to be able to ram it. That's going to be one. The other thing is, oh, you know, if it's barred from the inside, it's not going to be like a regular lock, is it? Dang, I never thought about that. And it may or may not have a regular lock on it. Okay, let me think for a second. Um, yeah, okay. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to give me some ideas, just because uh, okay, it's Monday, December 29th, 2025, at 10:59 a.m. I'm trying to think of something. Okay. Okay, so Wizard, you. Let me check something out here. Let's go back up to chapter 3. Uh, he retold flame. Uh, oh, okay. Guess he's back in town. Approaches it, board up with Universe Destroy and comes across the mouse. It happens. Okay, so I don't actually have anything written in here for how the front door is. So the front door might not be barred. It might just have a lock. Okay. All right. So Fairy God College had a good reason for not Fairy God, probably Princess Prep. It's like, okay, so let me think about something. Um, so I'm trying to figure out different ways for the unicorn to enter into Wizard U. It would make no sense to try the little mouse that shrunk Hubert, since Sir William can't communicate as a unicorn. I know, a little messed up logic, considering the mouse can talk, but Sir William can't. But then again, I suppose a realm with unicorns that was visiting enchanted lands would probably be able to talk, and Sir William was basically just cursed. Princess Prep had a barred front door. So why wouldn't Wizard U also also have a lock bar on the inside? Just give me some ideas to bounce off of. Good question. Fantasy logic is like a noodle, bends beautifully as long as you don't stare at it too hard. You don't have to treat every building like it was built by the same overly cautious carpenter. Okay, right? Some possibilities. Princess Prep was shut down in a hurry, barred from the inside. Wizard U was shut down by wizards. Wizards don't do planks and nails. They do please go away unless you have a degree in sparkles magic. So instead of a literal cost bar, Wizard U can reasonably have a stubborn magical lock. The doors that don't respond to non-staff, or doors that take offense at unicorn horns and sulk. That means Princess Prep practical protections, Wizard U magical protections. Nice internal logic, boom, stamped and certified. Here are entry method options that make sense and give you decision points. The Ramit Classic already in draft, right? The Applied approach. Could make could have unicorns. Unicorns are magic because technically they kind of are, I guess, in fantasy. So there's a possibility that nobody else could actually ram the front door open, but he can do it because he's got his horn is magical. It's not just brute force. It is brute force, but it's also okay. He gets offended, then he rams it. Funny false choice. Magic door riddle that you cannot enter was a U level. So where you cannot speak. Comedy ensues. The almost worked spell. And actually I could do like ChatGPT is suggesting, because I've already did something similar where you have one right answer, one thing, but you have these different ways to try, um, and ultimately they all go to the right answer. I did it with five in one of the deals. I think it was the ward detection spell, at least in the old version. The new version, I removed a lot of that, but the old version had that, and I could limit it to like three choices. One of them being brute force, the other two being ones that don't work that eventually lead to brute force, and then that might actually not be a bad idea. Unicorn stairs, he rams it anyways. The almost work spell. Happy he rams it. This reinforces Smoker suppression. Environmental option, window, servant's door, broken wall panel, big delivery. labeled spell ingredients do not summon dragons inside, but choose door, side entrance, window. They'll ultimately feed into you enter into the Hall of Fame, but it feels like agency. Clean logical answers. You can pick from. Wizards don't trust wood. They use words instead. The door locks from the other side of reality, not the inside. Violet and red had it magically sealed when shutting down the resort schools. Red wouldn't do that. Violet would do that though. Physical bar Princess Prep was installed by a mundane staff. Was abandoned by a vanishing spell. No one was there to bar it. Was abandoned by a vanishing spell. He used to have a bar. Wizards blew up. There's also a thing that I could do too. A kind of logic. It's not really a logic, but I could I could make the fact that uh what was I gonna say about Wizard U? That Princess Prep was barred so that they wouldn't discover the headmistress being trapped in the plant, and they wouldn't be able to really gather any clues exactly. Although they did gather clues because they were in a hurry. Um, so they had actually put it up, and of course, when they're leaving, they wouldn't have been able to. Well, let's think for a second. I don't have a time thing for Princess Prep versus Wizard U. Wait. Let me think for a second. Um, okay, so Wizard U, he goes in, he finds out about the device. Now, presumably, Max would have went in to test his device out and not assumed that anybody, because supposedly he'd taken care of everything. I guess he really hadn't taken care of Hubert. Although you could argue that because of the way that the king was acting and everything was acting, that oh yeah, well they did kind of take care of. They figured Hubert is not a threat now. Why? Because Violet stole half of his magic. So they wouldn't be thinking threat. So they wouldn't necessarily be they wouldn't be the same in locking down Wizard U. They did board it up. Now the trophy room had wards that Hubert set. So basically, it almost looks like they just kind of yeah. I didn't think about that. In the course of doing stuff, they closed it up because they didn't assume there was anything important in there. At least as far as they're concerned, they didn't assume that Princess Prep is a little bit more important because the prince what they did with the princess and stuff. So okay, so that makes sense here. Design takeaway, consistent feeling, fun moments, choices with flavor. Um, yeah, I've already done in a different variation um, a deal where ultimately funneled the choices into a single result. So he could try several things and only one works, which is brute force. So if he chooses it, he goes in directly. He chooses something else, it still leads to the brute force page. So that is probably a good way to go. Okay, so that does like I said, that does kind of make sense there. Yeah. Okay. So he can't talk, of course. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. Um, as far as the logical consistency with the doors, um, there's a good reason to be especially sure. Um, that's kind of interesting. It's like, okay, so how did they get out of Princess Prep when they have the bar on? So they can't go through the front door, so they have to go through like a back door or something, or a different door. I could have a back door because John only gets into the headmistress's office through the window, so it doesn't mean there isn't an exit somewhere. You know, just because there's an exit from the office. Okay, as far as the logical consistency, there's a good reason to be especially sure with this prep, and that is uh, capturing the princess was important to their plan, and they also don't want the headmistress to escape. Um, although I don't really know for sure how Max and Violet managed to leave when they barred front door on the inside. Maybe there's a back door that has a standard lock, or maybe they used magic, or maybe they had a method of lowering the, the bar from the outside. I'd imagine someone could have invented the bar drop, a bar drop mechanism from the outside back in the day. Um, okay, so I do have a reason for that. Um, plan that for their convenience first. They don't want to be stuck in their own dungeon. Villain generally consistent options make sense. Back entrance for staff, boring but believable. Front door barred from the inside. Service entrance in the back. Normal locker. Magic key. We're evil, not stupid. We use the side door. The mirrors. This mirrors real castles. Grand doors for ceremony. Practical ones for living. Outside bar release mechanism. This is very fun. Very villain SHA compliant. A bar slides into stone brackets inside the hidden lever. Outside drops the bar. Only villains know where it is. Behind a creepy gargoyle nose, of course. Bonus gag: someone boops the wrong gargoyle nose and gets glittered. Yeah. Feels medieval engineer, clever without becoming technology creep. Security spell says no one in or out unless your name is on the list. So physical bar blocks everyone, but Max and Violet use the key spell phrase. Uh, magic loves loopholes. Evil magic loves paperwork loopholes. Secret tunnel. The oldest trope in the pantry because it ages like cheese, delicious and a little suspicious. Leads to a broom closet, or to a portrait you climb through, or to underneath the stage in the assembly hall. Max says technically it's not leaving, it's adjacent, relocating. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not really planning on putting some of this stuff in there exactly. Actually, I should go ahead and copy this text though. So there is that. Okay. Uh, Boozy doesn't need princess level lockdown. Nobody's trying to kidnap wizards. Building might even be abandoned, boarded. Security could be half working, jury rigged. Sociologicals, Princess Prep equals Fortress Daycare, Wizard U, Closed Campus, The Grumpy Door. Um, Princess Prep designed to keep specific people in. Wizard U designed to keep random people out. Villains have boss key workaround. Um, yeah, the yeah Wizard U itself is less important, very important for the story, but less important to secure. Um, only Hubert would figure this out anyway, and um, and he doesn't. Um, only Hubert would figure this out anyway, and it's not like there's a deep level of information. There's top secret information. He does uh, notice the missing portrait of Max. He already knows who that portrait is, so um, he could already suspect, and probably does. What else? Max thought he was clever with his device. Max thought he was clever with his device in removing the scepter. Not sure if the scepter is in this iteration, though. Um, and also thought Hubert was already taken care of since Violet took half of his magic. So, while it's not airtight, it's enough. Uh, it's enough to be considered thorough. Shoot, half of fictional villains have an ego big enough to drive a truck through, and that's why they monologue. So it would be fine to think that Max thinks he's secure. Okay. I'm just, I'm talking out this conversation with Chat GPT just to contain my thoughts and to keep everything together. And let's see. You got villain logic. Max doesn't need a perfect plan. He needs a plan he believes is perfect. Posture, Mearsham, by healthy coding of egos, confidence, rainy thicker. Okay, yeah. The attempt at humor for ChatGPT to me is just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It shouldn't do that unless you ask for it to do that. Solid narrative supports. High security fortress. Was you good enough security? Villain egos, structural reinforcement. Copy. And what I said to, here, I'm gonna go ahead and paste this. Control V. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna save this. Okay. Yeah. So I don't even need to actually put this in here because um, Sir William, uh, aka the Unicorn, is not going to know anything about a bar drop mechanism. Well, I should say the bar drop mechanism would be in Princess Prep, not necessarily in Wizard U. Like we said, it was boarded up and it has less problem with security. You know, because they thought they had taken care of it. You know, so that way it doesn't need a it just needs it can need a physical um okay, brute force. Um okay. So uh it can't talk to the door. There's nothing that the door would say. I could do a thing attempting to communicate via unicorn sign language. As a little hint. In fact, do we have unicorn sign language? There was the book originally, right? So we already have a clue about unicorn sign language, and that comes back up later. And here, I could use that as kind of a callback or kind of a, you know, what they call laying pipe, and don't think of, you know, any like I don't, sexual innuendo or anything. And when they're making movies or anything or even writing a book, they call it laying pipe, which is basically like when you're building something that needs plumbing or whatever, you lay the pipe first, right? Before actually putting in like the concrete, the walls, the whatever, you know, the foundations and stuff. So you're laying the pipe first, and so that's where the term comes from. So in a movie or whatever, you'll have something that there's a callback, like something they forgot, you know, something that you're supposed to know of, but the character forgets. You know, he dropped something, right? Or um, or you know, somebody set something up. In fact, there was a movie that I just watched. What was the last movie I watched? Was it? It's one of the diehards. Live for Your Die Hard. The newest one, was it the newest one? Um, Let me think. Was it Die Hard 3? Die Hard 3? Uh, what was it? It's that they had set this up ahead of time. Um, I can't think of a stupid example now. Um, okay. The term laying pipe when it comes to, say, movie making is usually the notion that they insert a device, object, person, or dialogue that sets up why a character does something later. Maybe he or she has a skill that uh, they do that they need later on in the movie. Can you come up with uh, some of um, this pipe laying for some older movies, say um, early 90s or older? because I recent movies that just I don't know. I don't watch a lot of recent movies. I have some newer movies, but uh, look up being struck by lightning the exact time it happened. The fire. Okay, that's actually good. That's an actually really simple dumb one because it's actually a part of the plot. So it's not like a hidden thing, like a thing that they forget. But that is it is exactly it, right? So the clock tower had been struck by lightning. You don't know what the importance of that is until um, Doc and Marty are talking about how much energy they need to get into the flux capacitor. So, and then he says, the only one that can generate 1.21 gigawatts of electricity is a bolt of lightning. And he's like, what? It's like, a bolt of lightning. Yeah, yeah, right. That very lightning straight. Also, Marty skateboard skills hoverboard escape later. Well, yeah, that's in part two though, so that's not exactly the same thing, because Back to the Future Part Two, yeah, but the skateboarding skill was the other thing is when he's getting away from Biff in the first Back to the Future. He takes that little scooter that kid's playing with, and he takes the top off, and then he rides it like a skateboard, you know, and that's actually a better example of laying pipe where kids in the 80s had skateboards, right? Skateboard became a big thing, and I don't mean just actual skateboarders like pro skateboarders or whatever, or ones that did it all the time. I'm talking about casual people. I had a skateboard at some point when I was a kid. I didn't like use it very much and or whatever, but I had one, and a lot of people had one. So it was relevant that a high school kid, would have a skateboard, right? And so he used it to carry stuff or to get to school, by hanging on to the back of the car or something. But the thing that it set up is it set up the escape from Biff later, and so that is actually a good one. Um, uh, recurs character plot points. Yeah, the thing about him being terrified of snakes and stuff, it's just a thing that uh, that's a character thing that's explaining how that happened. That's not technically that's not pipeline thing. Yeah, right. The fact that shoot half of the beginning of the Wizard of Oz is like that because all the three farmhands and yeah, yeah, Amara Gulch, who's the witch, and that's actually kind of a good example, actually. Die Hard. Okay. Well, okay. John takes off his shoes. Ah, that is a great one. I didn't even think about that one. Right? What's a way to get him to take off his shoes and not have his shoes during the during the whole thing of where he's running around the building, right? And the way to do that is, yeah, the guy on the plane tells him, walk, yeah, makes fists with your toes, walk around barefoot, right? And they had a room. Now he didn't have a room to stay. It was an apartment or it wasn't a hotel room, but it was a room in the office building, and and that's what he did. He took off his shoes, right, and to get over the airplane, the discomfort or whatever it was, nausea or whatever he had, and then that sets up the fact that I think that was the one I was thinking of too, because I remember thinking about that whole thing. I was going like, why would the guy take off his shoes, right? And then it made sense. He takes off his shoes because he's doing something that potentially helps him. I don't know if that really works, but it might really work. But that's a really good deal with that. Um, Mary refuses to close the beaches. That's not really a thing. Yeah, I mean some of these are correct. Like I said, like Back to the Future and the lightning strike, and then I mean it's usually something that it's usually something the character doesn't know about. They don't know what's going to happen, but something they can like come back on. Oh, I remember some blah 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 blah. Freak detailing, yeah, detailing experience, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could say that that's actually part of the plot, though. So technically speaking, that is what that was. But it was a character thing, more part of the plot. It wasn't. It wasn't a thing that was. How do I say it? It is and it isn't. It isn't the fact that it's I don't know. It's usually this. It's usually something that you as the audience kind of forget about, right? They show something in the beginning, and then towards the end you're like, oh yeah, I remember that, that sort of thing. Uh, Princess Bride object. Okay. Nah, I I got it. I just wanted to um I'm on a live stream, and so I'm explaining uh something I'll probably put into the game that's similar. The first one is um, Beauty and the Beast from John's library gets swapped for unicorn sign language. Okay. Um, Beauty and the Beast is where um, a prince or whatever was turned into a beast, following uh, denying an old lady um, shelter in his home. Not dissimilar to what happened to Sir William. Obviously, I got the idea from that story, but here it lays pipe, so to speak, for when you finally learn about Sir William. Oh, I only got 10 minutes now. Darn it. I should have had this already started. Um, the story that here it lays pipe, so to speak. So when you finally learn about Sir William, um, it also sets up the whole unicorn sign language gag. When our party, uh, Hubert, the princess, and John encounter Sir William, uh, John recalls the funny book about unicorn sign language and is able to communicate with him. So I have that already. Um, but I'm thinking, since Sir William can't speak, he might use sign language. Although I may opt not to do this because what's he going to say to a door? Now the door is locked up, which is why Hubert had to go in a different way. So it's not going to be a magic spell where the door talks to him. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. This is what takes too long. I don't know. I guess I need to figure out a way of just no matter how absurd the idea is or how illogical it is, I should just go ahead and put it in anyways and just not worry about it. I guess I could iron it out later. A little bit of narrative plumbing. You've got your pipes, your fittings at Neocorn who can't complain about any of it out loud. Perfect. Paralleling Beauty and the Beast with Sir William's Curse. That's thematic foreshadowing without neon arrows saying this is foreshadowing. Chef's kiss. Unicorn Sign Language book. Later payoff with Sir William. Funny gag plus plot utility. The storytelling equivalent of multi-tool. Now about Sir William not being able to speak indoors, not being great conversationalist. Wait, he can do without actually talking. You don't need him to sign every rock doorknob and confuse squirrel. He can sign the prince. Well, he's going to. I mean, John is actually going to interpret it. Uh, about the locked door problem, you're right. Sign language doesn't help against the bar across the door. Well, it's not going to have a bar. It's going to be a lock. So that's why he's able to brute force it. And I can do that. I can have a padlock that he tries to unlock with his horn first, and he can't do it, and so he brute forces it. But I need at least in one other way. Pointless for the bot, potentially hilarious visually, who's waving. You can pick based on tone. He does use only with the party. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was just explaining to you how I laid out the whole USL thing. You mentioned the door presenting a riddle because it's magic, and this might be something to do later when the bad guys aren't keeping the good guys out. Um, but in this case, it's just locked. In fact, I might have a padlock on the front door that he attempts to pick with his horn, but is unsuccessful, that he still rams it. But that's only two. That's only one separate choice. I was hoping I could come up with a third option, two options, and the actual correct action. You got pick the padlock, the horn, fail, ram the door, success, actual path forward. You want a third distinct attempt that will ultimately funnels into ram it. Let's cook up some options. Let's see. Pretend to be a statue. Wish just someone to come out. No one does. Total weed energy. Finish up. Okay, that's use brains before horn. He circles the building, looking for open windows, side entrance, convenient skylight, dramatic hero entrance hatch, sadly not included. Okay. He finds nothing but academically solid masonry and poor maintenance standards. Uh, Knock like a gentleman. He could knock though. That's actually not a bad idea. He doesn't know. He doesn't know a lot of what's going on anyways in the kingdom, other than he was turned into a unicorn. He might know some stuff though, but we're gonna presume that he doesn't really know about the schools that much. He's going over just to see if night school was open, right? And so presumably, why wouldn't Wizard U be open? So he's just going there. I guess he could, yeah, he could knock on it. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The knocking thing should actually be fine. And three choices is fine too. So rams it directly. There's no extra step. He chooses to knock or fiddle with the padlock. Um, they don't work. It funnels to ramming the door. That sounds good. See, it actually gave me an idea that I can actually use, and actually, that I don't mind using that. It's not like particularly clever. It's just, I mean, that's if you were at a door, maybe you wouldn't be running. Maybe you just be knock, knock, knock. Um, Although there is a small little dealy about hmm, there's one little issue. Um, if he was knocking, expecting someone to come out, the uh, padlock would not be there. So that might not be an option I can use. So that's I still have to think, and I have to go on my break here in just a second. Um, yeah, I guess it could have a regular key lock in the door. So that would work. So I guess I'll use that. So, okay, so now I have my three ways. I'll just go ahead and type that in here. Let's see. Okay. So Sir William approaches the front door, attempts to knock on the door, and no one answers. He then tries to fiddle with the lock and isn't able to open, and finally rams the door open. Okay, so that's what I'll do when we get back. Okay. Okay, that works. I need to go on my break now. All is well. Okay. So I'm gonna say to everybody, thanks for thanks for watching part one, and I'll see you in part two about half an hour from now. So thank you for watching part one, and I will see you in half an hour.